This is the Moshpit Backstage podcast for punk, metal and rock interviews and segments.
Matt Young is the vocalist for Australian metal band King Parrot, who will be releasing their third album, Ugly Produce, on September 22nd. They'll also be touring Australia through December, playing in Melbourne at 170 Russell on the 15th. Youngy, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for your support. Appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome. Now, how did you approach this album? Was it any differently to the last one?
Yeah, I think we were a little bit more relaxed with this album. I mean, when we did Dead Set, we'd only had Todd in the band for about 6 months. And it was kind of, I mean, I don't want to say it was rushed because we spent, a good month or so sort of in the studio writing the album, and then we did the pre-production, and then we went and recorded it probably after we'd done a few tours over in the States. But with this album, we sort of had a little bit more time. We've been writing it over the last couple of years, but it's had a little bit more time to develop and progress. And I think with having a solid lineup for the last 3 or 4 years now, I think it's benefited the band really, come along and let them down. I just think, I like to think we've improved, and I think the record itself is really, a strong listen from start to finish. It's not, a couple of standout songs here or there or whatever. It's a really solid album from start to finish, and I think it really, without sort of veering too much from what we've done previously, it's just a progression, and I think I think contrary to what might be popular or what might be the flavour of the month, we've kind of really stuck to our guns production wise, and it really does sound like a band, and we're just playing live in the room, and that we're just sort of staying true to that as opposed to going for what maybe popular or maybe the thing to do at the moment. And I hope that people that like our band can appreciate that.
So with your vocal style, I kind of felt that it was a bit more experimental. You kind of went into the lower ranges a bit. Am I imagining that, or was that something that kind of you were trying to do?
I think I did it a little bit on Dead Set, and then on this album I've done it a little bit more as well. But I think when we recorded our first album, Bite Your Head Off, I was really only just sort of starting to get my head around doing extreme vocals, so I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. And I'd recently, I'd probably quit from cigarettes for about a year when we recorded Bite Your Head Off, and my voice kind of, when we were at rehearsals, it just sort of went, and it just went up, and it felt really kind of natural for me to kind of sing in that higher pitch. So, but since we recorded that album, and I've been experimenting with lower vocals and stuff live for a number of years now, and obviously we put some of that stuff on Dead Set, and I don't know. I just think I feel like with on Ugly Produce, it's kind of developed even more, and I even recorded some clean vocals on some of the tracks just to sort of give it a little bit more of a feel, give it a bit more, create a little bit of a sense of musicality as opposed to just screaming my tits off the whole time. It's been fun learning how to sort of express my voice in different ways, while sort of learning about how to sing in an extreme metal band. It's been heaps of fun, and I think as the band goes on, I'll continue to experiment a little bit with it and try and push it as far as I can. I mean, I've been so lucky to go out on tour with bands like Cattle Decapitation, for instance. Like Travis is an amazing vocalist, and John Tardy from Obituary, who's just been a legend in the scene for such a long time, and has one of the most distinctive sort of metal voices of all time, I reckon. And guys like Max Cavalera as well, and Zetro from Exodus is cool as hell, and Phil Anselmo too. Like, being able to sort of watch those guys pretty closely over the last few years, and sort of try and take from them and take the little bits and pieces and then sort of create my own thing.
I don't want to toot your horn too much or anything, but it just sort of strikes me that it's very, I think, admirable that you've been able to sort of create your own style, and something that's really distinctive. I think if anyone hears King Parrot, they'll instantly kind of, aside from all the music, they'll instantly know that's you. That's
it.
Your own vocals.
And that's sort of what we've that was kind of the goal, I guess, is that we want to just be our own band, and we want to be original, and we want to have our own sound, and I think the vocals really play a pretty big role in that.
Now, you're coming off some pretty good achievements, including touring over the last few years internationally, and the Thrash Blast and Grind Festival. Could you talk a little bit about how that went, how that sort of makes you think about the kind of scene and where you want to go from here?
Yeah, I mean, that was so much fun, man. I mean, Dave Haley from Psychroptic and myself, we decided that we wanted to do a tour again, because King Parrot and Psychroptic hadn't toured together for probably, I don't know, it must have been a bit less, at least three or 4 years maybe, and we just wanted to go on tour again, basically. So, we just sort of thought up a bit of an idea, a bit of a plan, and we put it all together, and as a lot of people would know, like, Dave's a bit of a mastermind when it comes to touring, and does a lot of international tours, brings a lot of bands out and stuff, and I love working together with him, and we sort of curated a bit of a lineup with a couple of his favourite bands, a couple of my favourite bands, and obviously getting the guys from Revocation to come out and tour as well, which was great, and they're really lovely guys and an amazing band as well. So we tried to put something a little bit different on the bill, to attract more people in to come and check it out, and check out something new, and check out something that they might not have heard previously. So that was sort of the idea behind that, is just to sort of bring in different elements from the metal world and put it out there on that platform. And we'll probably do it again, I think, at some point in the future. We've obviously got, King Parrot's got a lot of our own going on, and I think Psychroptic is writing and going to do a new album soon too. So at some point we'll get something together, whether it's both King Parrot and Psychroptic or other bands, I'm not too sure yet. But Dave and I had a really great time putting that together, so I think we'll definitely try and do something like that again.
You're distinctly Australian. I think no one could accuse you of being anything else. How does that kind of play overseas when you're touring internationally?
Yeah, we get some weird looks and some sort of, what the is this kind of, who are these idiots? Like, what do they think they're doing? Sort of looks. And we just kind of, we just don't pay any attention, really. I mean, we just do what we do, We can't change what we are. It's impossible. We can't cater to an American audience, or we can't cater to a European audience, or we can't not be King Parrot, and we wouldn't want to do that. And that has really sort of raised some eyebrows for us, especially on our first few tours in the US. I mean, some people kind of got it. Some places got it more than others, but I think we do okay over there. I mean, last time we played in New York, it was close to sold out, and we played some killer shows in LA where there's been, we can hold our own and pull a reasonable sort of audience in those kind of places, like in London and stuff too. And but I just think we need to just keep working. We need to keep touring. We need to keep getting our band out there, and the more that people see us from the metal world, the hopefully the broader our appeal becomes. And I think, with this new album, Michael, it's a big step forward. So I feel like, in terms of growing King Parrot, it's going to hold us in really good stead. And we're not going to stop doing what we're doing. We love doing this, and this is our passion. So it's making this music is very important to us all, and spreading it out there and spreading the seed of the Aussie metal sort of sound that we've created. That I think really does. I've said this a bit before. We really do tip the hat to to some of the bands, like Damaged and Bean Flipper and Alchemist and Bremelin and bands that have been in the Australian scene but never really had that opportunity to sort of branch out on that international level. It was probably a lot more difficult back in the 90s and the early 2000s to do that kind of thing. But we really wanted to create our own version of that sort of sound and really be influenced by those bands that were pioneers to me and that were just as good and if not better than some of the international bands that are getting worldwide recognition. We really wanted to be able to take that sound and create our own thing with it and take that out to an international audience. So we don't want to steer too far from that. That's what we believe in, and that's the music that we want to play. So we think it deserves a spot out there in the international sort of market.
That's good to hear. Last question. I've sort of, over the past few years, become a bit more passive when I'm going to metal shows. I tend to find myself kind of watching musicians kind of do their thing, and I find that really fascinating. I let the music wash over me. You have very much of this perspective that I gather. Like, people should be up, moving, dancing, all that stuff. Do you kind of think it's maybe... I don't know, inappropriate's the right word, but like inappropriate to go to heavy metal shows and kind of just stand there, like even if that's the kind of way you enjoy it. Like, how do you feel about that sort of stuff?
I can't personally. I mean, for me personally, I don't go into mosh pits other than my own. But I mean, when you're doing it like the way that we've been touring over the last sort of however many years, like if I jump out and do a stage dive or something, or end up in the mosh pit, and I do that, over 100, 150 times a year, there's a very high possibility that something bad's going to happen. And so, I just try and restrict it to my own shows. So I'm probably the same as you, man. I'm a bit of a Fringe Dwelling band watcher when I go to a show, but I do everything I possibly can to rev up the audience and get people into it and get people in the pit and get them excited and get them to get involved, because I used to love that when I was younger, and that was how I sort of approached everything. So it's an interesting one, but yeah, man, I'm sort of not getting any younger these days either, so I tend to sort of do a bit of Fringe Dwelling, but don't try and do it at a King Parrot show. Don't ever try and do it at a King Parrot show.
Fair enough. Ugly Produce will be released on September 22nd, touring Australia in December, playing at 170 Russell on the 15th. Youngy, thank you so much for joining me, and good luck with all the US tour upcoming.
Thanks very much, man. Yeah, I appreciate all your support, and great to chat to you.
Thanks for listening to the Moshpit Backstage podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Omni. To find out more about the show, go to www.syn.org.au/moshpit. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitonsyn, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at moshpitsyn. The regular Moshpit radio show broadcasts punk, rock and metal tunes and interviews every Thursday nights on Syn 9.7 on FM and digital radios. Listeners outside of Melbourne, Australia can stream Syn 9.7 online at www.syn.org.au. Thanks to Vintage Ruin for the music.
Hi, this is Tomato from Flash Gun Apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Enid from Girls School.
I am Phoebe Pinnock from Heavenly Axe.
Hey, this is Gary Olney of the Misfits.
Hey, this is Kat Sproul from Horizon's Edge, and you're listening to the Moshpit on Syn FM.
Hi, this is Einar from Leopard.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lilly from the band Lily.
This is Raul from 1349.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ali from Zebrahead.
Hey, everybody, this is Charlie Benante with Anthrax, and you are listening to the Moshpit on Syn.